Niccolo Machiavelli wrote in 1513 that a man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good. 5 centuries later, this remains the most ignored truth in the Western social psyche. You have been raised on a diet of post-Enlightenment idealism, the belief that being good is a functional shield against the world's cruelty. You wear your niceness like a suit of armor, unaware that it is made of cardboard. In the European courts of power, the nice guy is not seen as a moral exemplar. He is viewed as a strategic liability. You move through your social and professional circles with a desperate, underlying need for consensus, mistaking your fear of conflict for a surplus of character. But look at the ledger of your life. Every unreturned message, every overlooked promotion, and every dismissed boundary is a line of code telling the world that you are predictable. And in the Machiavellian theater, the predictable are not respected. They are managed, used, and eventually discarded. The fundamental error of this mindset is a misunderstanding of market value. You treat your attention, your labor, and your loyalty as infinite resources, believing that by giving more, you will receive more. Machiavelli would view this as a catastrophic failure of statecraft. Power is rooted in scarcity. When you are always available to help a colleague who mocks you, or always the first to reply to a person who devalues you, you are engaging in inflationary social spending. You have printed so much of your own currency that it has become worthless. To the observer, your kindness does not look like generosity. It looks like a lack of options. It smells of a man who has nowhere else to go and nothing better to do. A prince must know how to withhold, understanding that his presence is a reward and his absence is a punishment. By being the perpetual participant, you have surrendered your most potent weapon, the power of the void. There is a profound difference between being peaceful and being harmless. The nice guy claims the moral high ground because he does not cause trouble, but the truth is far grimmer. He cannot cause trouble. He lacks the teeth to bite, so he pretends he is a vegetarian by choice. Machiavelli argues that a ruler must know how to be a centaur, half man, half beast. To be purely man, relying only on laws and politeness, is often insufficient. To be purely beast is to be a tyrant. But to be a master of power, you must possess the capacity for ruthlessness, even if you never use it. When you repress your ambition to fit into a civilized European mold, you aren't becoming holy. You are becoming a biological open sign. You have invited the parasites into your courtyard because they know you have no guards at the gate. True virtue only exists when you have the capacity to be a monster, but keep the sword sheathed. If you have no sword, you aren't being virtuous. You are a victim. Observe the validation economy. This persona operates on a contract of hidden agendas, being nice because he expects attraction or loyalty in return. From a Machiavellian perspective, this is tactical insanity. You are making high-interest loans to people who never signed a contract. You are betting your self-worth on the whims of others, a territory over which you have zero sovereignty. Machiavelli taught that a prince should build his foundation on what is his own, not on what belongs to others. By seeking validation, you have moved your headquarters into the enemy's camp. The world does not owe you a return on your niceness. In fact, it views your unsolicited kindness as a form of manipulation. They sense the bill coming at the end of the conversation, and they resent you for it. This brings us to the strategic pivot, the transition from the clown to the ghost. In the European tradition of realpolitik, the most effective strike is the one that is never seen coming. Ghosting, in this context, is not a petulant act of a hurt ego. It is a total market crash on your attention. It is the tactical decision to stop providing the data of your suffering. When you argue, when you send the long text, or when you try to explain your side, you are still a participant in their game. You are providing them with the fix of knowing they still control your emotions. You are a lab rat pressing the lever for a pellet of dopamine that is never coming. To be a ruthless ghost is to realize that the ultimate strike to the human ego is not a shout, but a vacuum. By withdrawing your energy completely, without explanation, without a final talk, and without a backward glance, you force the other person to listen to the deafening roar of their own insignificance. You are no longer a character in their play. You have walked off the stage and burned the script. Machiavelli emphasized that the public is always taken by appearances and by the outcome of an event. When you are nice, you are transparent. Everyone knows what you will do next. The ghost, however, is an enigma. By refusing to engage in the post-mortem of a failed interaction, you reclaim the power of the unknown. Human nature abhors a vacuum. The person you have ghosted will inevitably fill the silence with their own insecurities. They will wonder why you aren't reacting, and if you have found something so vastly superior that they have ceased to exist in your reality. You have moved from being the hunter to being the environment. You have become a black hole of focus. This is not about teaching them a lesson. That would still imply you care. This is about reclaiming the temporal capital you previously wasted on people who treated you like a footnote. While Machiavelli focused on the external state, we must apply his principles to the internal state. Your shadow, the part of you that is ambitious, cold, and calculated, is not your enemy. It is your only true diplomat. European history is not one of friendship, but of interests. Your shadow knows your interests. It is the part of you that realizes when a relationship is a losing trade and is willing to be the villain in someone else's story, to be the hero in your own. The nice guy's greatest sin is that he has amputated this shadow, convincing himself that being agreeable is the same as being good. It is not. Being agreeable is a survival strategy for the weak. Being a ghost is a strategic choice for the strong. To become a sovereign entity, you must allow your social avatar to be incinerated. You must reach the point where the good opinion of others is a currency that has suffered such hyperinflation that it is literally worthless. European aristocracy understood the concept of noblesse oblige, but they also understood the order of precedence. You must set your own order. You are the architect of your own empire. If a person does not serve the expansion or the peace of that empire, they must be annexed from your reality, not with a bang, but with a cold administrative silence. Stop asking for closure. Closure is a fairy tale told by the weak to get one last look at the person who discarded them. True closure is the realization that you no longer require their data to function. It is the moment you stop checking the scene receipt and start checking your own progress. Imagine the transition. You move from the validation buffet, where you were a starving customer, to the monk mode workshop, where you are the architect. Your invisibility is now your greatest asset. It allows you to build in the dark, without the interference of those who would only use your progress to measure their own stagnation. Machiavelli would approve of this efficiency. Why waste a single neural firing wondering what they meant when you could use that energy to build a business, a body, or a legacy? Every time you simp for validation, you are performing a radical act of self-betrayal, telling the universe that your time is cheap and your boundaries are mere suggestions. You are a hostage to a game where you are the punchline. But when you inhabit the archetype of the ghost, you are no longer a participant. You have achieved the ultimate strategic advantage because you have removed yourself from the board entirely. The war for your attention is over, and the only survivor is the version of you that no longer needs an audience to exist. In the final analysis, the world respects the dangerous who have chosen to be peaceful. It does not respect the harmless. By ghosting, you are not hiding. You are simply no longer there to be found. You have moved from the two-dimensional world of social approval into the three-dimensional world of absolute self-ownership. Look at the wreckage you've left behind with the eyes of a strategist, not a victim. Their confusion is the metric of your liberation. Their unanswered questions are the pillars of your new fortress. You are reborn, unburdened, and entirely your own. The silence of your presence is now louder than any shout you could have ever managed. You have achieved the ultimate victory. The world no longer happens to you. You happen to the world. Stop asking for permission to be powerful. The world didn't give you your value, and the world cannot take it away unless you keep showing up to the auction. The temple of your own worth is finally quiet. You are free from the mask, free from the clown, and free from the terrifying exhaustion of pretending to be harmless. The most devastating way to win is to become so great that you forget who you were even competing with. You are the ghost, and the game was never real.